Now let's talk about getting hands-on, because experience is the absolute best way to prepare for the A+ exams. You just need to work with the operating systems. Now keep in mind, they're going to ask you questions on the A+ exams that pertain to the Windows XP operating system, Windows Vista, and new to the 801 and 802 exams, Windows 7. All right, now you're not going to see Windows 8 here, but you will see XP, Vista, and Windows 7. So you need to get your hands on a copy of these. Now there are places out there on the internet that you may still be able to find some trial downloads of these. You may be able to find it on Microsoft's website. But keep in mind, if you've got a computer right now, you're running one of these three operating systems, okay? Just simply work with that one, okay? You can also go out and talk to friends. You've got friends that have XP. That means they had a disk that came with it. Now keep in mind, with XP, if you load it and don't activate it, you're in trial version and you're not violating a contract. You're not going to use this or develop on it or anything. You're just going to run it in the trial version and then you're going to unload it. And so talk to people. Find somebody that's got a copy of XP, a copy of Vista, and a copy of Windows 7. If you're in a corporate environment, somebody around there probably has either an MSDN or a TechNet subscription, and you can get these operating systems as well. So you'll just have to be a little bit creative depending on your situation to grab these. Worst case scenario, if you can't find these things, there's all kind of documentation out there on the internet on Microsoft's site about these. Now, go to www.microsoft.com and search for trial downloads on these things, okay? It is amazing how you can find these things starting at Microsoft and then going out there on the internet. A lot of people with blogs about prepping for exams, for working with different situations, will put them out there. You can find them as virtual machines. Just get a little creative and go out there and look around. Now, they're also new to the 801 and 802 exams, going to ask you a lot more about laptops and mobile devices. And so you want to make sure you get hands-on with a desktop. You want to be familiar with laptops and mobile devices. Now, desktops and laptops is not that big a problem. Most of us have been exposed to those. But by mobile devices, we're talking about like Android phones, the Apple iPhone. You could see questions about the iOS for Apple. And so you don't have an iPhone, you don't have a Google Android type phone. So what can you do there? Well, number one, you can go to Apple's website, and you can go to other websites, and you can download the manuals for these things. They're not going to go into a whole lot of depth on these, setting up email, basic operations, touch screen functionalities, that sort of thing. So you can go out there and find that documentation, but also go to your local computer store, go to your local Apple store, and just get your hands on some of their devices and just play with them. They've got them sitting out there for you to play with. Just go out there and get your hands on them. iPhones, go to whoever's selling iPhones in your area. Verizon, Best Buy sells iPhones. Go to a big box store. Go wherever you can get a hands on somebody who's selling iPhones. Stand there and play with it. Tell them, I just want to get my hands on it here, and work with it just a little bit. And if you know them very well, tell them, say, look, I need to get my hands on this thing. Can I sit here for an hour or so and work with this thing? Because not everybody can afford an iPhone to pay, $200 or $300 or more just to get it to pass the A+ exam. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's just suggestions. I'm sure there's a lot better ideas out there. But just know they are going to test you on XP, Vista, and Windows 7. The ideal situation is to get a trial of that, load it, dual boot it on your machine. That's a good example of really getting creative. Go out there on the internet and look up dual booting with those operating systems. Just be careful. Make sure you get a good backup of your original PC or laptop before you do that. But get hands-on with these things. Then use CompTIA's published exam topics as a guide, and again, I have that for you out there in the work files folder. It's a PDF file, and you can also go to CompTIA.org and grab that, okay? But trust me on this, you do not want to go sit this exam without some hands-on experience. So get creative, get aggressive out there. Grab some downloads, grab some copies of these. Most of your relatives or friends had an old XP machine and they still have the system disk for it, or they still have the XP installation disk. just go out there and look around. Again, if you're in a corporate environment, they probably have those laying around everywhere. So anyway, get some hands-on. There's some suggestions on doing it, and this is the way to get ready.